Hey Warriors, it's Monday, the 5th of March, 2021, here in the beautiful United States of America. And just a couple of things came up today. I thought I'd just throw this together real quick because I was looking and researching some stuff of my own, and it just so happened that this article popped up today. And this is a New York Times article came out this morning that talks about how they are defining domestic extremism and who those people are. And that the Biden administration is ramping up efforts to combat that. So it just so happened that I was doing some research into the whole connection between and how long that narrative's been being run and played out. And so it just so happens that all of that stuff, well, it's been going on for a long time, but they started it way back in the 90s, back in the Clinton administration. But it came all the way through the Obama administration, and the original omnibus bill, theoretically, supposedly, was written by, it was sponsored by, whether it was written by him or not, I don't know. But guess who? Joe Biden. And so anyway, so we have this junk going on now that it makes it all the more relevant at this point in time. If you're not paying attention to what's going on in the world, please disregard all of this because you won't see it anyway. And even if you do see it, well, actually you do see it. It's happening right under your nose, but you won't believe it because you're sleeping. So anyway, I'm going to put some links in the description here for you to be able to check out more from this particular source. Her name is Jan, and she's over at XtremeRealityCheck. Her website is extremerealitycheck.com with an X, and she's on YouTube, she's on Rumble, she's on BitChute, and she's awesome. She's been doing this for a long time, and these are the types of sources that I recommend to people. And I typically don't tell people how to research things, but I'll tell them where to research things. At least I'll share some sources, because typically people need to find out this. They need to wade through all the stupid stuff, because then they appreciate the fact that when they get to somebody who actually knows what they're talking about, it's very evident. So everybody's got to skin their knees a little bit and do some dumb things and do some bad research and make themselves look like fools in front of people. But the bottom line is that most of myth is based on fact. Most legends are based on fact. And we've been told, oh, nothing to see here. That's just ridiculous. Those people are crazy. They're insane. It's exactly the opposite. Whatever they say, it's exactly the opposite. And once you start, the more you look, the more you see. I equate it to this. I used to tell people stories about, like, let's say you're going to buy a new car, right? Whatever kind of car. And it's not something you really ever paid attention to, but something catches your eye. Let's say the new Ford Explorer, man, you just love that. I like the looks of that. So, and maybe you think I'll go take one for a test drive. Well, all of a sudden, as soon as you get interested in that, you're going to start seeing them everywhere. In fact, it's crazy how many, it's because your eyes are open to that. You're now looking for that. You're now aware of it. And so you're paying attention, and you didn't realize it was in plain sight all along. It just wasn't relevant to you. And all this stuff is the same thing, people. It's the same thing. I'm not trying to convince anybody. I'm not going to try and recruit anybody. I'm not going to try and tell anybody what to think. But I'm telling you, everything that we're being told and have been told for decades and generations is a lie. Period. And you can call me crazy or whatever, but you start looking for yourself, and you'll figure it out. Because let's face it, it doesn't really matter whether you believe me or not, whether somebody believes me or not, whether I believe me. I mean, I need to know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, and that's it. And if anybody else, it doesn't matter. My Cheerios are going to be just as crunchy tomorrow, whether somebody wakes up or not. But the difficulty is, the one thing that I will say is this: the important thing about all of this stuff is that let's not get caught up in the minutia, the little details. The biggest thing to remember is that this war has been going on since the beginning of time. It's a war between good and evil. I know that if you're not a God person, you're not spiritual, whatever like that, this isn't going to resonate with you, and you don't care. You're probably going to think I'm a nut, and I don't care. The bottom line is that's the case. And so the further you get into this, the further you realize that people say, oh, well, I don't believe in that, I believe in science. I got news for you. The more you study science, the more that you'll find out that science proves the Bible to be true. Period. They're like this. God invented science, just so you know. They go just like this. Anyway, if you haven't got anything better to do, and I think that lots of us have got lots of things that we could be doing better than watching TV. Shut the television off. Quit watching television, period. Start spending some time doing this if you want something new to do, if you're bored. And get off of the mainstream, get off of Google, get into, DuckDuckGo, use a different browser than Chrome, or just some of the offshoots are better because they're not messed with as much. But and lots of the information that sometimes you will find from researchers that have been around for years, you won't find anymore because it's been scrubbed from the internet. And if you think I'm kidding, I'm not. It's true. There's been stuff scrubbed from our history, and has been for a long time. So anyway, don't take my word for it. Look for yourself. So anyway, I don't even know where I'm at in this whole thing now. Okay, so I'm going to, this article today comes out, and Biden steps up federal efforts to combat domestic extremism. And this is just out in the New York Times today. Here, I'll show you. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you because you can read it yourself. But I will post a link to the video clip that I'm going to show you, because it's actually out of a lot bigger video that talks a lot more about a lot of things. But this goes back way back, and it'll refer to, for those of us old enough to remember, clear back to Ruby Ridge and Waco and the Oklahoma City bombing. And the reason that I love Jan over there is because, first of all, she's a believer, and second of all, she has a scientific mind, and she never presents anything unless she has evidence. She has scriptural reference and scientific evidence to back it up if she happens to be talking about that. Or when we're talking about things like this, she's got documentation. She's got documentation for everything. She'll show you the articles, she'll show you the interviews, she'll show you the video clips. So there you go. But ultimately, everybody needs to be checking on everybody, because if you start believing anyone for face value, then you're sunk. That's the worst thing you can possibly do, because that's where people get, going down the wrong road and getting misinformation and starting spreading rumors and lies and whatnot. So just like anything else, check it out for yourself. Okay, so it says the Biden administration is stepping up its efforts to combat domestic extremism, increasing funding to prevent attacks, weighing strategies historically used against foreign terrorist groups, and more openly warning the public about this threat. Okay. So here, where's the part that I wanted to read? This is it. The attempts to more assertively grapple with the potential for violence from the white supremacists and militias are a shift from President Donald Trump's pressure on federal agencies to divert resources to target the Antifa movement and leftist groups, despite the conclusion by law enforcement authorities that far-right and militia violence is a more serious threat. So, as you can see, you and I are much more of a threat. And so the reason I'm showing you this video clip is that Jan actually talks about what they actually in the legislation list as, started out to, and still to do today, in the original Omnibus Bill and then the Patriot Act and all this other stuff, who they consider to be a threat, who is considered to be a domestic extremist. And it might surprise you. I think you'd probably fall into that category, unless you're a lefty, and then bonus, you're not on the list. You get off on this one. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to play that for you, and we'll go from there.
Say that you have 15 to 20,000 people working on security and content review. Do you know the political orientation of those 15 to 20,000 people engaged in content review?
No, Senator, we do not generally ask people about their political orientation when they're joining the company.
So as CEO, have you ever made hiring or firing decisions based on political positions or what candidates they supported?
No.
Why was Palmer Luckey fired?
That is a specific personnel matter that seems like it would be inappropriate to
You just
speak
made
to
a
here.
specific representation that you didn't make decisions based on political views.
Well,
Is that
I
accurate?
can commit that it was not because of a political view.
Do you know of those 15 to 20,000 people engaged in content review, how many, if any, have ever supported financially a Republican candidate for office?
Senator, I do not know that.
Your testimony says it is not enough that we just connect people. We have to make sure those connections are positive. It says we have to make sure people aren't using their voice to hurt people or spread misinformation. We have a responsibility not just to build tools, to make sure those tools are used for good. Mr. Zuckerberg, do you feel it's your responsibility to assess users whether they are good and positive connections or ones that those 15 to 20,000 people deem unacceptable or deplorable?
Senator, you're asking about me personally?
Facebook.
Senator, I think that there are a number of things that we would all agree are clearly bad. Foreign interference in our elections, terrorism, self-harm.
I'm
Those
talking
are
about
things.
censorship.
Well, I think that you would probably agree that we should remove terrorist propaganda from the service.
So that sounds pretty good, right? He's just going to protect people from terrorists. So during the Obama administration, when they released the threats of homegrown terrorism and Department of Homeland Security for the United States of America, they put Christians on it.
Outrage tonight over an intelligence report. Critics say the Department of Homeland Security document unfairly paints military vets as right-wing extremists. And Maria Antonia is live now in the newsroom with some reaction. Maria?
Kelly, this is the 9-page report we're talking about. It is the topic that has prompted all kinds of reports, comments, and criticism online. And here in our area, this is the reason why upset veterans are calling the VFW. It's a report that went out to law enforcement warning about the potential of right-wing extremists using the country's bad economy and the election of the first black president among the reasons to recruit members. The report mentions Timothy McVeigh in a section that refers to some returning military veterans after Operation Desert Shield/Storm in 1990 and 91 who joined or associated with right-wing extremist groups. Now, this report is also a hot topic as those Tea Party protests we've been showing you today. I want to take a look at one more thing here. This is a badge one demonstrator in Johnson County was wearing. It reads, "I am the freedom-loving, pro-life, Constitution-supporting patriot Homeland Security warned you about." Now, some Republicans in Congress are also critical of this report. One even wants Homeland Security to apologize to veterans.
Now, make no mistake, they aren't just targeting veterans and patriots and saying that they're domestic terrorists and put them on the list. I mean, this is serious. When Mark Zuckerberg is testifying right now, oh, it's okay, we only discriminate against terrorists. You need to understand that our own government has listed us by name as terrorists. Okay, now as I go through and read these sections of this intelligence document, just listen to these things and ask yourself, do any of these descriptions apply to me? Meaning you. Ask yourself, because you need to understand that you're on the list. You're on the list. This says, historically, domestic right-wing extremists have feared, predicted, and anticipated a cataclysmic economic collapse in the United States. So they're saying all of these economists online who are just click on the United States national debt when you're talking $20 trillion, and we're not allowed to say there is no way that America can ever pay back $20 trillion, that we don't produce enough gross domestic product. We can't pay that debt back. But we're not allowed to speak of the facts because that what might make you a right-wing extremist. You can't even talk economics anymore. The thought and speech police have become so intrusive. Prominent anti-government conspiracy theorists have incorporated aspects of an impending economic collapse to intensify fear and paranoia of like-minded individuals and to attract recruits during times of economic uncertainty. Conspiracy theories involving declarations of martial law, impending civil strife or racial conflict, suspension of the U.S. Constitution, and the creation of citizen detention camps often incorporate aspects of a failed economy. Anti-government conspiracy theories and end-time prophecies, in quote, could motivate extremist individuals and groups to stockpile food, ammunition, weapons, such as violent Christian identity organizations. So if you're a prepper at all, or you're a gun owner, or a Christian, it's just unbelievable. It's beyond my comprehension that they can say, oh, this is cyberbullying if we just, say anything or ask a question or anything. Oh, it's cyberbullying. You can't say anything. You can't ask anything. It's all going to offend somebody. But they can list us by name. They can just absolutely put us in a government document and say, this isn't bullying. No, to say, if we believe in end time prophecies, so if you believe in the Bible, or you're a Christian, or you're a prepper, or you think tens of trillions of dollars of national debt might be a problem, well, you're on the list. So it says, reflecting back on the 1990s, prominent among these themes were the malicious movement's opposition to gun control efforts. So, and we can't possibly have a discussion about the Second Amendment. It also goes along and basically says that you're a white supremacist if you don't agree with baby killing and homosexuality and sexual perversion and all this. As they're externalizing this hierarchy, they want all of that, and highlighting perceived government infringement on civil liberties, as well as white supremacists' long-standing exploitation of social issues such as abortion, interracial crimes, and same-sex marriage, which is the whole Antichrist Book of Revelation story. That is the Bible prophecy, that a totalitarian government would come into place that would demand people renounce their belief in the Holy Bible. So the Holy Bible says homosexuality is wrong. The Holy Bible says baby killing is wrong. But the cabal, or should I say, this is a United States government document from Department of Homeland Security released by Janet Napolitano under Barack Obama's directive. And he directs us to renounce our belief in the Holy Bible. And if we do not, we will be considered part of this extremist terrorist threat of people who will not conform.
Okay, so the biggest thing that I guess the takeaways is that you got to look at this stuff. There's tons of stuff out there. There's tons of things going on. I'm just trying to stay off of social media altogether because it's just nonsense. Most of the people are just so spun up in all the little minute details about this, that, or the next thing. And don't get me wrong, it's all important for its reasons, and it's all intertwined. But the difficulty is that people are missing the fact that never put we need not to put our all our faith and all our trust in a man, and one particular man or one particular group or anything like that. I'm not trying to tell anybody anything. All I'm saying is that the only absolute truth is the Bible, and the only absolute person that we can trust is Jesus Christ, period. The rest of it is open to suggestion because we've been duped on several occasions. Think back to, think Matrix, think Nightmare on Elm Street. Are you asleep or are you awake? In the movie. So, who's doing what to who, and who says so? So, I'm not saying don't believe things. I'm saying look it up, study it out, and make your own conclusions. But don't be surprised when things that you think it's just completely and totally obvious that it has to be that way. It couldn't be any other way. Well, you know what they say? If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And so the overall thing I just want to leave you with is that we're just in a part of this battle. This is just another battle in this war that's been going on since the beginning of mankind. Okay? And we're coming to the end of it. We're getting close to the end of it now, and you can see it. You can see it all in the Bible. It's all ramping up. But the point is, and we know who wins. So if you don't know Jesus, I'd do some serious research into that whole thing too, because there is a God, there is a heaven, there is a hell, there is a devil, and Jesus Christ is the only thing that's going to keep you from going to the other place. Here's the other thing. There's only two sides on this, okay? There's good and evil. There's the right side and the wrong side. And I'm not saying right being, I'm right and you're wrong. What I'm saying is there's the side that you want to be on, and there's the side that you don't want to be on. There's no independent, there's no libertarian, there's no middle ground, there's no, by abstaining or going la 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 la, I don't care, I can't hear you, that's not going to cut it. It isn't, because by making no choice, you're making a choice. And there's only one way to get out of this in good standing, okay? Just saying. So I'm not going to get up on a soapbox and preach the gospel right now. But look into Jesus if you haven't, okay? And if you have questions, ask somebody that you know that's been telling you all this time, because you know somebody that's been praying for you and trying to get you to listen. Well, it's not all spiritual, it's not all religious mumbo jumbo, okay? And you'll find that out if you start looking for the truth. If you start looking for the truth, you'll find it. Just saying. So do that. Check this out. Check out Jan over at XtremeRealityCheck. She's awesome. She's a believer, and I trust her because she's got evidence. She lays it all out for you, and if she doesn't know, she tells you. So that's one good source. There's lots of great sources out there, but be careful, because I think that we're getting too, I don't want to say lackadaisical, but people are getting tired. I get it, but getting tired now is not an option, because this is only the beginning. And even if we go around, if we hit the curve here in a little bit and things look like they're going to get better, they're going to get worse again, and they're going to get worse because they got better. Not, okay? It's a war. So if we win a little bit, we're going to be at war first. We're going to be still at war again, okay? Everything's not going to be all hunky-dory, and it never will be ever again, just so you know. I'm not trying to toss a cow pie on the slip and slide. I'm just telling you, that's the way that it is, okay? So, and the sooner that you realize it and start wrapping your head around it and put it in perspective, the better off you're going to be. Don't go around thinking that everything's going to be roses and sunshine. Things could get better, okay? And there's going to be ups and downs, but don't think that things aren't going to get radically worse in the coming years, months or years. So anyway, didn't want to bring anybody down. I want to encourage you. We win in the end. We're the good guys. We're on the good side. We're on the right side. We're on the side of truth. We're on God's side. Okay? So I love you guys. God bless you. Have a great day. We'll see how this turns out. Nobody ever may see it. I may never even cut it together. I don't know. But if I do, and you see it, then I did. I love you guys. To my writer friends, keep the shiny side up, and as always, peace. Did I just do that weird winky thing? I'm gonna have to get better at this.